Hello and welcome to Healthy Knitting. My name is Rosie. Today is January 26th, 2016. Yeah, gets a little interesting this time of the year. I usually mess up the year quite often, and so it is 2016. I can't even believe it's already the 26th, so February is right around the corner. And I have not gotten everything that I wanted to do in January, even close to getting done. So I think I need to look at that a little bit more and kind of pay a little bit more attention, but I have been working a little bit too much. And actually, this is Tuesday. I normally have been recording on the weekends, but I had to work. So I don't have a lot to show you because I have been working a lot. I've been very busy, and I just wanted to get it done today because I feel like if I don't keep doing this, I'm going to have another hiatus. And I want to keep knitting and showing you things. And even if they're shorter's not too bad, right? Shorter's always good. So let's get started. I don't know if I have anything exciting to talk about. I haven't really thought about it except for just trying to get my knitting things put together. So pretty much this week I've just been working a lot, and that always is not so much fun. Today is my free day, and I have been cleaning the house because I haven't cleaned the house for over a week. And with the numerous cats that you've seen before, you must know that that is just a disaster waiting to happen. So I'm still not even done. I have one room completely done, one room half done, one other room half done, another room half done. So mostly I think if I can get off of this recording, I can get the rest of my house cleaned before it's pitch dark outside. And I would normally just keep cleaning, but I'm losing light, and it is about almost 3 o'clock, and I live in New York, the eastern part of the United States, and daylight is not with us right now. It is winter time, and so daylight's probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's going to start getting dark, and supplementing light with the incandescent bulbs doesn't really help me show you things very well on the podcast, so I am taking a little break. Let's get started. What I'm knitting, I don't have any finished objects. I thought I was going to because I had those books that I showed you from the library, but I just started working on this one project, and I got the collar done, which I'll show you in a second. I am working on from Interweave Knits 2010, Rosemary Hill's Burnham Wood Caplet. And this is what it looks like. I can see if you can see that very well. And I thought that I'm using Classic Elite Moreland yarn. And this is what I have left of one ball. I have 7 more balls plus this to make that caplet. I don't know. It says I'm supposed to have the right amount of yarn, but that's going to be really interesting because this was almost 1 ball of yarn. It is doubled, and it's a lot of cable-y stuff going on. So I don't want to give too much away, but in many cases with collars that you want to have not the same pattern going all the way around, but have the pattern going around that way, you do a provisional cast on and then work in one direction, finish, and then pick up those stitches and work this way. And so that is what I've done. It's 2 gauge. It's a little bigger than what I expected because it's kind of loose. Like I have a lot, you can't see. I feel like I have a lot of extra yarn, extra fabric here, and it's supposed to close with those cute little kind of claspy things. But I guess it's better not to have it so tight that it's going to be choking me. This yarn is soft, but it's not, I haven't decided whether it's really super skin soft. When I put it on like that, the mohair was a little itchy. And mohair can sometimes be a little itchy on me. I actually made a mohair scarf, and then I went to go get my hair cut, and my hairdresser was like, "Oh, looks like you have eczema." And I'm like, never have eczema. What's going on? And it was my scarf. It made the back of my neck a little itchy. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with this. It has a little bit of mohair in it. There's quite a lot of ingredients in this. Sometimes I put cooking into knitting. It's merino, alpaca, mohair, and acrylic. And I love, 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 love the color. Can you see the depth of color in that? It's so pretty. It's got a lot of, it's like a single ply. It's a pain in the butt to knit, I must say. Singles yarns like this, I was using my signature needles, and I'll show them. I just put them on a different project, so I'll show you because I'm going to go up a needle size, I think. It called for a 6, and I went down to a 4 for some reason because I thought I was supposed to do it on the smaller of the two needles, and I figured, okay, well, it'd be a 5 and a 4 and a 5. So I started with the 4, and although I did get the right gauge, I'm just thinking that it might, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to the 4s on this or not. I'm debating. It was a really big pain in the neck to knit. And so I'm just wondering if maybe the 5s might be a little bit better. So these are my hayas. And what's happening is when I'm knitting, I'm grabbing the ply, part of the ply when I'm sliding it. And so I'm getting a piece of that stuck. I'm not making any sense, but I'm not like swishing completely, and I'm getting a piece of it stuck. And so the next round, I have to then take that off of the, not knit it in with the next stitch. So it is a bit of a pain, and it is splitty, and signatures are very pointy, but I don't necessarily think that what was doing it. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll go back and put it on the Haya 4s and see if I like it. But the cable bits, I tried not to use a cable needle because I prefer that method. It's easy, it's fast, it's quick. But this yarn, it's so splitty that if I didn't actually have it on the cable needle, it was falling off, and then I wasn't able to pick it up properly. I'm picking up half a stitch, and I was getting really frustrated. So it took quite a while because I actually had to use a cable needle just to do this, like days. And I'm a fast knitter. This should not be taking this long to knit a little piece of fabric like this. That's crazy. But it took forever. The cable was not intuitive at first, but once I got through the first round, then it was like, okay, it's making sense now. It's pretty cables. I don't know if you can see. So it's just folded over so that the cuff has both, or the collar has an inside and an outside. And it's very pretty. I really like it. I'm not exactly sure about the next set of directions. I had to pick up the cuff and then work around, do some increases, and then the cables. But it only said to pick up one side. Wouldn't it just be easier to pick up both and then you don't have to tack down the inside? Or would that just change something drastic? My mind says, we'll just pick up both. But it didn't. So, I don't know. Then that's one less step, right? Anybody ever do anything like this where you have to pick up and then tack down? Because anytime I do a folded hem, I just knit when I change over, I fold it over and then knit both together so that it's done. I don't have to go back and figure it out later, because sometimes it gets a little off and you go like this and you slant, and then you have a skew on one side and straight on the front. So I'm debating. I might just pick them up both front and back, and then I don't have to worry about tacking it down later. But anyway, that's for this week to finish. And what else did I want to tell you? I think I'm going to think very carefully about the remaining Moreland that I have in my stash. I have 2 more colors, and I have 2 projects that, you know what? I can look to see which projects they were, because if it's going to be crazy, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I want to work with that yarn like that. No, that one's pretty simple. No more cables, that's for you, for sure. Yeah, no more cables, because cables was just not fun. Okay, so in this box is my Viajante, and as you can see, that is yarn that I've ripped back. And I put it in this little box because I was only going to work in here, and I had just ripped it out and put it on the floor, and I can shut that door to make sure the cats don't come in. But the only time I'm in here is briefly, because it's actually a little chilly in this room. I have one tiny little heater under the desk. I have radiant heater radiators in my house, And this room just gets really cold, so I just shut it. I basically live in my living room and the kitchen and my bedroom. In my bedroom, I keep the door shut too because that's always a cold room, and I just don't feel like heating rooms that I'm not in all day long. Buddy has fur. He's sleeping in the bedroom right now, so Buddy's fine, and he actually jumps under my feather comforter to stay warm. They're smart. They're really smart because that's where I would be if I were in there because it's not really that pleasantly warm. And today is absolutely 43 degrees. A nice day. I actually had to go run some errands earlier, and I had my window open because I had my big heavy coat on. I thought it was going to be cold, and I was dying of the heat in my car, so I rolled down the windows. I'm like, 43 degrees is hot. So anyway, so this is my Viajanche. I am using, let me just pull that back. I am using Bittersweet Woolery Afterglow yarn, which is a 50-50 merino and, well, that's funny. It says wool and silk on here, but didn't I say that was Tencel? I'm going to have to find that label. I think I threw the label out. I could have sworn the label said Tencel, but Ravelry is telling me that it's silk, but I almost don't think that it's silk. That's strange. I'll have to look into that. But here's the Viajanche. It's by Martina Ben. Viajanche. I'm saying it all not correct. Anyway, this is going to be a smaller version because there's only 875 yards. The reason why it's now at the joining point again and not the 12 inches that I had already on here of stocking knit is because it did kind of fall off the needles. Totally my fault, not Alphonse's fault. And then I dropped the stitch marker so that I forgot that I was supposed to be doing decreases on that one side, and so I just kept going round and round and round, and I can't remember. I didn't even look to see how much around I went because there was another reason why I was ripping it out. On the increase round, I was doing a yarn over and then knitting it through the back loop on the next round. And even in their direction of the left crease right, that it is probably, all right, so what am I doing now? I'm knitting it. I didn't do her increase that she suggested because the right slanting and left slanting, I really can't be bothered. I usually just do my regular yarn over, and then on the next round I'll knit it through the back loop. Well, being that this is lace weight, being that it's so open, it was putting the big huge circles, but weird circles because it was one short side and then one long one. So it looked really bad, and I didn't like it. And so I ripped back, and that's the other reason why I ripped back. Not just because it fell off the needles. That I could have fixed. I could have gone back a couple rounds and fixed that. No big deal. Not a big problem. But I'm liking that it's not going to have that big hole anymore. This is now the increase round between those two little stitch markers. So it's going to be a lot less noticeable, which is what I wanted. So I'm okay with that. I can't rewind the ball once it's in that form, so that's why it's in a box. I brought it out into the other room to just knit a couple rounds just so that I could get back on my feet, see if I liked that increase or not. And I think from here on it's probably going to go really fast. I'm going to leave it on these. These are my signature size 4s. I did this part on 3s, the garter stitch, and then this one's on a 4. And it's probably going to go faster because this is not unscrewing, whereas my Hayahayas keep unscrewing, and so every couple of rounds I have to screw them back together, which is not really fun when you're knitting lace because it's just a pain in the neck, especially when it's that closely around. So I might put the big, here's a kitty, I think it's Karina. I might put the big cord on my Hayahayas and do the cape with that, with the size 4s here, because I'm not going to keep taking needles on and off. That's not ever very fun at all. That's it for knitting. I don't have any spinning. It's kind of ridiculous. I didn't get hardly anything done at all. I returned a couple of books from the library that I didn't like, and I just put in for a few more, and I haven't, these are the 3 from last week that I've decided to hang on to a little longer. One ball. There's a couple cute hats in here. This is the other one. Sock yarn shawls too, and then this one. I haven't even a chance to look at this one at all. Knitwear Love. And then today, one of my errands, I ran out to the library to return some other books and pick up some of the ones that they had already for me. There's 3 more now that just got there after I got there, but 750 knitting stitches, chunky knits. There are a couple cute things in here. First Frost. This looked really interesting, and I was looking at it while I was waiting for her to check me out the rest of the way. Knitting Double. And the last one is my favorite cardigans to knit. So I haven't had a chance to really look at these because I'm cleaning the house today and I will be looking at them later. But I did want to kind of do something with these 2 books for the next podcast. So I might record a little small segment and then add it later because I think I need to return them soon-ish, sooner-ish than I think next weekend. So I'm not sure if I have time to just do like a quick little review of them, but they were cute. One of the things, if I can find the citric acid, what I'm going to do today while I'm cleaning is dye this sweater. This is a sweater that I made. You've seen me wear it hundreds of times. I absolutely love this sweater. It's an interweave pattern. I can't even remember. I think it might be a Veronique Avery sweater. I think it begins with an N. I can't totally remember, but I bought this yarn on sale. It was from an LYS in Cornwall that closed 10 million years ago, and I made this sweater, and it's just a little bit unflattering to wear, and the color, not so flattering either. So I thought purple, just over dye it purple. Purple is a nice color. I have a jar of it from when I dyed a long time ago from Greener Shades that's already mixed. So I have a packet of teal somewhere that I bought a long time ago that would probably do this fine, but then I wasn't sure I was going to like the teal over this taupey color. I thought it was going to make the teal look kind of sad, and I don't want a sad teal. So I have to find the citric acid because I can't remember if I put citric acid in the container already. This is what happens when I don't write notes. I mean, I thought I had notes. They could be somewhere, but I don't know where I put them. They could be even in my computer somewhere, but I wouldn't even know how to find them. So I definitely need to do a better job of containing my things. So this might get a dye bath today. I needed to clean up the kitchen a little. Oh my gosh, you know what happened to me in the kitchen today? Anybody have the self-cleaning button on their oven? Well, I just self-cleaned my oven like last week because it had been a while and I made a bunch of things. I made some applesauce and I did it in my not a crock pot, but like a big Dutch oven thing, and I just threw the apples in there and just baked it, and it was great. But some of it spilled over, and then I had junk on the floor, so I did the self-cleaning thing on the oven, which is fine, but then I was cleaning the front of the oven, and I hit that button on accident. I was like, oh my God, no, because I need to actually do some cooking, and I need to use it takes forever, like hours, 5 hours to self-clean the oven. I don't know why. It goes hot enough, it should just be able to like, boom, you're done. So then I pulled open the door, and then it's still going on and says the door is now locked. Meanwhile, the door's open, and I'm like, darn, I can't shut the door. What am I going to do? So I pulled the oven out, and I unplugged it, and that seemed to work a little bit until it's still the little latch was shut, you know, with the lock position of me not being able to lock the door. I'm like, darn, I'm trying to find directions. I couldn't find anything. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll just kind of like hit it a couple times. And it did finally shut and undo, but I was like, shouldn't there be an emergency off button for that self-cleaning oven thing? Right? There should be. There should be and I was hitting the off button. I was hitting the stop button, nothing. It's like, no, we must clean your oven. I'm like, no. So it was a little bit crazy there for a minute in the kitchen. And the things I found when I pulled the oven out. Have you ever done that? Anybody live with cats or dogs and you pull the oven out after not pulling it out for like a year, and there's like this much of animal fur under Yeah, it was really gross. So my kitchen's getting in the process of being cleaned. So anyway, and I have to cook later. So I'm going to make this potato dish that I talked about once before. I have some potatoes and some pepper. So I'm going to pop that in the oven. What else did I want to talk about? I have a couple cookbooks that I really liked, and I think I need to bring one of them back in a couple days. So I'm going to try to look at that tomorrow, maybe, or maybe tonight. I don't know. It was actually a cookie book. Yeah. A cookie's okay here and there, right? So I don't know if there's anything in there that I might find interesting to share with you. And Lydia is an Italian lady who I've watched on PBS. If anybody of you have watched cooking shows on PBS, she's Lydia's Kitchen, blah, blah, blah. And I remember her from a long, long time ago, and she's still cranking out books, and I got a really good one from the library, but it was only a 2-week period that I could take it out, and I was actually liked the way she wrote. I liked the stories, I liked some of the recipes, and I just kind of like store that information up here because if you've ever watched me before, I don't really cook from recipes. I kind of just gather information up here and kind of like, oh, I have all those ingredients, let me just pop it together and see what happens. So that's kind of how I cook, but I like to read people's inspirations and read how they do things so that I can store it up here and then kind of like pull it out of nowhere whenever I've got some stuff to cook. So that cookbook, I've already forgotten the name of it, but maybe I see if I can find it next time. I highly recommend it if you have it in your library to check it out because, gosh, it had everything in there. It was like all of her tips, tricks, secrets, and everything of 40 years, 50 years of cooking. So, oh, my phone is ringing. I can't get it right now. I hope it doesn't ring over here. My phone is sometimes attached over on my computer. Probably not, though, because it would have already done that by now. It's funny because normally my phone doesn't even ring anymore. My phone is crazy. If you call one number, it won't ring most of the time. But if you call my Google Voice number, sometimes that one will ring and let me know that I've had a call. What else? I don't know if there was anything else. This is really short, 22 minutes. The cats are doing good. Everybody's fun. I did talk to my friend Laura, which was really fun, and reminisced about some of our fun times in school. And she got to see a lot of friends for her high school reunion, which I didn't even know about. So I might want to be on the lookout for that since I live pretty close to where we went to school when we were in high school. What else did I want to tell you about? I'm just looking around the room to scan to see if there's anything. I still haven't woven in the ends on that cardigan. It's sitting over there. I moved it from the couch to here because, oh goodness. So if you have pets, I highly recommend you put your knitwear away and don't leave it on the couch because apparently long cat fingernails have been putting pulls in about 3 scarves that I had. So you kind of have to mend things around a little bit. If it doesn't kind of meld enough, I'll just have to block it. And, once you wash it, I'm sure it'll fluff back up or something. Maybe it will be magic. I'm not sure. So yeah, the kittens all need their nails trimmed and they've been sleeping on my stuff. They knock it down off the top and then they're like, oh, nice big pile of wool to sleep in. So that's that. This room's kind of like the last room that I need to clean up. There's a big pile of papers on the chair that I need to go through. And anything else I wanted to talk to you about? Oh, there are so many projects I want to make. I'm back into the swing of wanting to do things, so much so that there's just not enough time and too many ideas floating around in my head. Oh, the one book that I thought was really cool, it was about garter stitch, the 50 garter stitch projects or whatever, was really awesome, except for that you're not actually knitting back and forth. You were knitting in the round garter stitch for most of the stuff that I wanted to knit, so I did take it back to the library for right now, and maybe later when I feel like doing that I will. But I think part of the pleasure of garter stitch for me is actually just being able to knit, and I don't mind purling, I really don't, but I just didn't feel like it. You ever just, I feel like doing this, that's what I feel like doing, so I didn't really feel like purling. I know I'm going to have a lot of purling to do with this caplet, I know. I know, but there were a couple cute, and I've made that Ricky hat or whatever it is, and I actually did it in knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. And I like the way it looked. I don't mind doing that. It's just not what I wanted to do. So later on, I'll catch that book out from the library again. It was at my own library, I think. Yeah. So I didn't even have to send away for it. So it's going to be there anytime I want, probably. What else did I want to say? Oh, gosh. Oh, a few of you are making the shawl that I made. I still need to block mine. The Gallatin scarf. The longness that is. That it's so pretty. And I still haven't blocked it. So that's... And the cats didn't wreck it, which is good because I had it in my bedroom. But, yeah, if you want to post your projects that you made in the group, that would be fantastic. And it's nice to see other people, finding inspiration, that I found inspiration from someone else. And I've been watching podcasts again. I found a couple more that were very interesting, and off the top of my head, I don't remember who they are. Let me see if I can find it right here. Welford Pearls is one, and I think I found that from the Snappy Stitches podcast. So, what's crazy? The Snappy Stitches podcast, and for the life of me, I forgot her name. I've been watching her podcast or listening to her podcast even before it was a video podcast. She was one of the very early on beginning podcasters. Chrissy the Manic from Manic Pearl, Chrissy. So anyway, she had her second baby, and I don't even know how that happened because I didn't even know that she was pregnant. So this is how much of a hiatus from watching videos and watching the podcast I've taken. It's pretty crazy. So I can't really go back and catch up because there's not enough time in the day for that, but I am trying to move forward and watching my favorites and finding some few more. So when I find new podcasts that I like, I'll share them with you. But that one was very interesting, especially if you're a spinner, because she goes through a lot of detail on spinning, and she spins for big projects, which is very inspiring, as well as the other one, that's the other one I was going to tell you about. Where is she? Oh, darn. Hold on. So, oh goodness, it's Passionate, like passion, K-I-N-I-T, Passionate Spinner. And she's from Germany. I'm not sure if she's still podcasting from Germany, but I know she's lived in Germany. So I'm not sure if she's moved somewhere else. I've only watched the last 3. So that was really interesting, especially she had like a interim podcast about how she spins for a sweater with multiple braids and colors, and her procedure on how to break them up and then grab them for spinning so you have a more consistent looking garment. And that was really interesting, hello, look who's here. It's Natalia, my little purring girl. Hi, honey. So that kind of got me inspired to want to dye up a bunch of fiber and then just pull it apart and spin it together. I do have projects in mind, bigger projects that I would like to do, and I'd like to spin for them, but I just feel a little disorganized right now. My fiber stash, I don't know what I have anymore. I sold stuff. Same thing with the knitting. I have it. It's pretty much here. You can see it. But in my mind, I still feel like I have stuff that I don't have anymore. So it's kind of weird. And same thing with the spinning. I know I did get rid of some things, and I would like to make some projects and just do it more thoughtfully, like picking specific fibers for specific projects. And then, do I want to dye it first? Do I want to not dye it? Do I want to keep it natural? Like, just very thoughtfully and carefully, because I find that I'm trying to protect you from cat butt. I find that when I'm just making things or haphazardly doing things, I tend not to keep them or wear them. And I kind of would like to supplement what I have. And, I gave a bunch of stuff away again. I still have more stuff in my cart I got to give away. And, this really nice hand knitted objects I put a lot of time and effort in. And she's a licker. I don't mind doing that, but I think I would, with the amount of time that I have, I would like to really make things that are functional and things that I want, like this caplet. I really feel it would be a really good spring garment and transitional for me, because it's something that I don't actually have in my wardrobe. So, and I still have those beautiful, I'm looking at them right now, those little Rolags. God, they're gorgeous. And I'm not spinning them. I'm not doing anything yet. Oh, did you know on Craftsy there's a little free class? I know, I'm so disjointed here. There's a free class with Lucy Needby on socks, and she's, you cat butt. I'm sorry. Stop, Natalia, honey. I'm sorry. She doesn't care that you have cat butt in your face. So anyway, it's a free class on Craftsy, so you can sign up for that, and it's 3 different ways to do socks, and it's Lucy Needby, who's really cool, and don't you just love her hair? I love her hair. I was watching it on my phone last night before I went to bed, and I really couldn't see it that well, but I think it's like this really awesome shade of purple. And I did try to do some purple in my hair, but it didn't really kind of work that well. But her hair looks purpley gorgeous, because I love purple. And what I did, I was started to talk about this. I do have Kool-Aid that I could dye this with too. I've got a ton of grape Kool-Aid that my friends and I dyed so many years ago, some yarn, and I still have the mitts that I made with them. I don't even know how to make that yarn again, but it actually came out gorgeous. Let me see if I can, no honey, come here. Right where the end of the chair is. See those pretty colors? And I don't know how we did it. I think we were just dumping Kool-Aid in and hoping for the best, and it came out really multicolored beautifulness, like not muddy at all. So hooray for Kool-Aid. If you ever try Kool-Aid dyeing, it's just really fun. And did we use vinegar or did we use citric acid? Because I think I had citric acid. I don't even know. It was so long ago, I just have no clue. But there are directions for Kool-Aid dyeing, I think, on Knitty. So anyway, Craftsy has a bunch of nice little free classes and things like that. And they also have, for your quilters, quilt of the month type thing. And I was actually looking at the quilt, thinking I'm going to run down to my stash of fiber downstairs and see what I have. I don't know if I'm going to do a big thing, but I might make some smaller quilt blocks for something, for silliness, I don't know. But it would be nice to use my sewing machine again. I have made quilts before in the past when I lived in Vermont many years ago, and they came out nice. I just haven't picked it up. It's a little tricky with the cat hair in this house. I have a lot more cats than I did then, and finding an area to actually do it in and cut pieces and keep things clean. I don't have a big table, so everything has to go on my big mat on the floor, which is great. I do have one of those big mats. I thought I had it over here, but I put it in my closet again. It's a big one, so that you can really lay things out flat on the and cut it with your cutter thing. I'm starting to lose it. I should go. So anyway, throwing away some cat hair. Check out Craftsy, because they do have some free stuff over there, and there's always sales. You get on their list and they're like, hey, we're going to give you 50% off of a class. And so I have taken art classes. I've taken lots and lots of sewing classes, but I haven't really used them to the degree that I would like to, because I have this great intention of one day making my own garments. Yeah, it will happen one of these days. I really appreciate the knitting garments, but knitted pants are just not going to happen for me. So I would really love to be able to make some pants and some skirts and some tops, to go with the knitted accessories and sweaters and stuff. What else? Yeah. So that's it. So healthy tip. I haven't really thought about it, honestly. Maybe I should skip it, because I don't really feel like coming back. I just want to kind of hit send to file so that I can be done here. That's the cat, sorry. I think I'm just going to do that. I will double up on the healthy tips next week. Maybe I'll review a cookbook. There are 2 really good cookbooks that I do have right now, and I didn't want to not do them any justice, but I I thought that they would be nice to share because I know, people who like to do handcrafts also like to stretch, like to cook, like to do things with their hands, like to do things for themselves if they are so inclined with time. Because yes, time can be a bit of a challenge when we'd rather be knitting instead of cooking, but I do enjoy cooking too. I like to cook, I like to paint, I like to knit, I like to go outside and walk, and I like to do lots of things. Anyway, happy knitting, have a great day, and be well. I'll probably see you over the weekend, which is not too far away since today is Tuesday, and maybe you will see some increase on these 2 projects. I would like to make a little hat from this book. There are 2 hats that I like, so maybe I'll get that done. Hats are easy peasy, right? Oh, I was on the bus, but because I fell asleep both times. Well, obviously on my way there, everybody's lights out, so none of that going on. But on the way home, I was so tired, I just fell asleep. No knitting. And I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been ripping it out anyway. There was no way I was bringing this thing on the bus because I could barely even get the cables to not fall off the needles home on my living room with the cats poking me. So anyway, I'll see you later. Ciao.